Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts has temporarily halted the end of Title 42. That is the Trump administration pandemic policy that allows for the quick expulsion of migrants at the southern border. Since first implemented, Title 42 has been used to expel migrants more than 2.4 million times. The High Court's move comes just days after the mayor of El Paso, Texas, declared a state of emergency, attempting to deal with the surge of migrants.
And joining us now is a congressman whose district includes more than 800 miles of the U.S.-Mexico border, Texas Republican Tony Gonzales. Welcome to you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
All right. So Title 42 was set to end on Wednesday. What's your reaction to the chief's decision there?
Yeah, I'm grateful that the Supreme Court has offered a stay. I will tell you, on the ground, it is a very frantic situation. Local elected officials were calling me nonstop, trying to figure out what's our next move, what happens. And then on the ground itself, it's just it's beyond capacity. On Friday, I visited the processing center there in El Paso, which I have visited many times, but I never had seen it this bad. There was literally hundreds of people in a very confined space. When you talk about the weather, it's going to be in the teens. Many people were without jackets. They were having colds and all these different things. It's a bad situation all the way around. I'm grateful that the Supreme Court has at least offered a stay, but we need a more long-term solution. Congress and the administration need to come together to find that exactly what that is.
And Congressman, you actually tweeted Title 42 as the last line of defense for our border communities. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, you know, the administration has stripped away a lot of policies that worked, and Title 42 is a policy that works. I'll give you an example. Title 42 goes away. It prevents you from expelling migrants in the matter of hours, and you got to go to Title 8, which would take days. We're already seeing max capacity right now, so it would just completely inundate the system altogether.
Let's talk about your recent visit to a migrant processing center in El Paso, Texas. We actually have some footage that you shot there. Can you tell us about that experience?
Yeah, it's really sad, and it really hits you pretty hard all the way around for everyone involved. The migrants themselves, I mean, literally there was over 500 people in a small confined area, one bathroom that has a half wall. The odor's terrible. Everyone's coughing. A lot of people are sick, and it's just it's constant throughput of people. And then there's also the agents that are also having a tough time. You know, last Christmas I spent 20 years in the military, and I know what it's like to be deployed during the holidays. So last Christmas, I wanted to go where Border Patrol agents were, and I visited 6 different centers. And this is what I saw is in Del Rio, there was a young woman. She was about 25 years old, and she had a son. He was 4 or 5, and the son was gripping his mother's hand just as tight as can be. And all I can think of was, what kind of journey had they been on to get to this point? In the same lens, I see a Border Patrol agent that is just completely weathered and tired and exhausted. This was a year ago. Fast forward to now, we've had 14 Border Patrol, Customs and Border Patrol agents that have committed suicide. On Friday, I just attended a funeral. It is just heartbreaking all the way around. Congress and the administration need to come together and find long-term solutions.
And of those 14 suicides, 3 have publicly been identified, 11 have not been identified. Earlier this month, Congressman, you introduced the TAPS Act, which stands for Taking Action to Prevent Suicides. The bipartisan legislation is aimed at improving mental health resources for Customs and Border Protection agents. Tell us about the bill, and why is it important to you?
The big thing is just bringing Congress together. When you start talking about the border, both parties immediately get divided. I wanted to find an area that could unite us. And to me, preventing suicide may be that spark that gets that immigration and border security conversation going. So it's a bipartisan piece of legislation. I worked with my good friend Henry Cuellar, a Democrat from Laredo. We've got many co-sponsors on it. And the goal is simply this. Everyone should be against Border Patrol agents committing suicide. And we should all work together in order to strengthen and make sure that they are safe and secure and have all the things that they need to be successful.
You mentioned how divisive things are right now, especially border issues. What are more bipartisan steps that can be taken to improve the situation at the southern border?
One is immigration judges at the border. That is so critical to it. 2, processing centers that were manned by something other than Border Patrol. Border Patrol agents want to be out in the field. They don't want to be in these processing centers. And the third piece, which I just think is so critical that no one is talking about, there are literally tens of thousands of unaccompanied children that we have no idea where they're going, meaning they get into HHS custody for 21 days or so, and then they get released to their sponsor, but no one follows them. And I worry that we have a generation of children, regardless of their legal status, that are falling through the cracks and being forgotten. These are some things I think that we can start and build out from there. If you start talking about amnesty, or if you start talking about deportations, I mean, it immediately kills the conversation. I'm trying to start at a place that makes sense and then build out from there.
Okay, Texas Congressman Tony Gonzales, thank you so much for that.
Thank you for having me.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.